two, one. Hello. Welcome, everyone.
Welcome. Good morning, Georgiana. How
Morning.
are you?
Good. And you? I'm excited about our first business planning session of 2022.
Yes, I'm excited. The motivation is definitely there. When the beginning of the year is here, somehow we create a total different experience for our business, right? And our lives.
Yeah. Yeah. So, housekeeping, as we mentioned last week and the last 2 weeks, we're now going to be doing these planning sessions once per month. So we're going to be coming together, Millie and I, here on my page, to share with you guys some ideas and tips and things that we're going to, help you work through the rest of the month. And so it's going to be a little bit different. But last week, you guys had a request. We were talking about planning and setting up your new year, and you guys were requesting a little walkthrough of how to get your planning gear. So I want you guys to hear, let me see in the chat box who has their planner ready. We're going to share some tips for you guys, some ways that we plan, some of the tools that we use, and some of the actual steps. So get your pens and paper ready so that you guys can lay out a plan for yourself so that when you either, you can do it live with us or, when you're out on your own, you can put your plan together. So why don't we start off with, I think, the basics, like what do you use to organize your day to day, your life, and etc. Millie, I know you're very specific about your tools that you use. What are some of the things that you use, like on a daily basis, that you find helpful to?
Oh, wait, look who already has planners on hand. Letty, Stacy, Nita, who else?
Yes, where are our
Love it.
planner people?
It's
Let's see.
important. It's very important that you have your planner right with you. So let's and I love what you're doing. Georgiana, she is very structured. She created her own planner because she couldn't find one.
Sometimes
So
you just
she just customized her. So you guys have the best here sharing strategies, and we are all going to learn from everyone, not only from the expert, but also from all of you. So I would like for all of you to share what it is that you're doing. And if you have a planner, Sue has a planner, Roller, great. So thank you. So back to the question.
so what do you use?
I actually use a calendar that is also a planner. But I'm gonna reach out. I'm bring it to you so
Okay.
that you can see. It's kind of thick because I like to write things down. I carry it
Go
actually
get it.
in a bag.
Go get it.
Okay.
Okay, Millie will go get hers, and I'll talk you through mine. So, as Millie said, I actually made my own planner because I couldn't find one that I liked. So, I use what we call a daily planner. So, this is my planner for 2022. I use a planner that has a calendar in the front. Oops, let me see if I can find a blank one. This was a mock-up that I didn't finish. So, you have like a calendar, and then I also have daily pages. So I can plan out my specific days. Let me see if I can find one of those in detail. So I have my goals at the beginning and the end of the day, and I have like a hourly section. Whoops, plus notes. So that's what my calendar looks like. That's what works for me. Millie, what works for you? What does
I
your calendar
love
look like?
it. I love it. Well, I hope you don't laugh because my husband calls me the bag lady. I love bags. But this year I did something different. I actually got a thicker calendar because I love to write. So
Mm-hmm.
the beginning of the year, you always have things that you want to actually keep my calendars here with along with my Avon
Got
books.
like a three booklet system.
Yes, I got the calendar. This was my calendar last year, and as you know, it's filled with things and notes and but I like to write things down. I love to brainstorm a lot. I actually do that a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So I got a new calendar. It's kind of thick, and it might be overwhelming for people, but
Can
it
you give
also
like a
has a
close up of a
calendar.
blank page so we can see?
See, it has well, it has a way to set your goals.
Mhm.
affirmations, your top 10 things to do for the day.
Hmm.
It has a lot, and you also have like, you know, things, inspiration messages that you can just show up, pull up with your phone.
Hmm.
And I just started putting things from the year before, things that I didn't get to finish and didn't get accomplished the year before, which is okay, by the way. But see, this is like the beginning.
So yours is also a variation of a daily planner. So on each page, are you planning for the week or planning for a specific day? It doesn't look like one of the ones that you're planning for the month.
Yes, well, it does have a calendar,
Okay.
but it's an opportunity to every day to get up at least in 30 minutes to start writing down your goals and what it is that you're gonna do for the day. See, this is like the whole calendar.
Calendar.
Yes.
Okay. So
So it's
you guys can see Millie and I, we went the paper calendar route,
yeah.
but you know that that's not for everybody. And I know for myself, I also use different apps to help assist me. So if you're not a paper calendar person, as you can see from us, there are a lot of varieties. You have like the monthly planning calendars. I know some people have that big one for their desk. There are weekly calendars
Mhm.
where you see your whole week together. Millie and I have both by chance chosen planners where you work on a specific day and you craft out your day on that page layout. Then there are digital calendars. Everyone has Google Calendar on their phone, so or I shouldn't say Google Calendar, but some type of calendar on your phone. I use Google Calendar because it syncs with my email. So when I have meetings and I confirm whether it's with my team or Avon or whoever, and I confirm it links to my calendar. There are also apps. I use an app called Asana, which isn't in and of itself a calendar, but it has it's basically a task based program. If you're familiar with Kanban or any of those programs, it's like that. So you can create a list of tasks and then you can assign them to dates in your calendar. There are
I
also
am gonna write that down. Asana, you said, right?
yes.
See, I'm taking notes.
Yeah, I hope you guys are all taking notes, and I hope you share in the chat box too what your style
Yeah.
of planning is, because we don't want to tell you guys use this because this is what we use. At the end of the day, the most important thing, we're just showing you variety, because if you don't have a planner that you use, then it's useless. You have to find a system that works for you that you can use consistently throughout the year. I know a lot of people, the year starts, they buy a planner, they use it for the first week or the first month, and then they never touch it again. Or I know people who are planner collectors,
Mm.
they love to buy planners and all of their planners are half
It's
empty.
empty.
You don't want to do that either. So whatever it is that works for you, you need to find a system that works. I use a combination of my paper planner because like Millie, I like to brainstorm and make notes. I draw. I was sketching the other day, um, just like some ideas and stuff. I like to, that's how I brainstorm. But some people are very rigid with digital. I need the digital aspect too because it alerts me when I have meetings. So when I'm not looking at my paper calendar, I can hear a little ping and think, okay, wait, what was that? Something is happening in 5 minutes. So look for yourselves for something that you're going to use. Right, Millie?
I love it. I love that you also use apps and your phone connected to your calendar.
Yeah.
I love the Google Calendar. I used to use it a lot when I was doing events out in the field because I was able to, to show everyone where I was so they can come see me. You can make also the Google Calendar public, and
Yeah.
I stopped using it. So I am going to go back, and actually the Google Calendar goes into the phone. So every morning it tells you how many events you have.
Yeah.
So thank you. That's something that I'm going to start implementing as part of getting organized for
Yeah.
2022.
Remember, guys, there's no right or wrong way. I see Nita also uses a combination of Google Calendar. Candace shared a great tip that she sets up her Avon events in her Facebook groups and then syncs it back to the calendar on her phone. So that's the one thing about digital. You could kind of sync up, and whether it's iCal or Google Calendar, a lot of these programs can sync up, and even Avon's calendar. When you subscribe to Avon's events, whether you're registering in Zoom or you're just going into the Avon calendar, you can also have those training and meeting activities added to your calendar. I did a video a few months back,
Mhm.
probably years now, showing you guys how to import Avon's calendar into your phone. So automatically, whenever Avon schedules something, you would get that alert in your phone so that you can register and take your classes. So basically, whatever you're using, it doesn't matter as long as you're consistent with it and that you can find the things that you put in there.
I am definitely gonna try the app that you share, Asana. Asana.
Asana,
Yeah.
Asana.
Yeah.
It's definitely something that you need to customize and make work for you. I use it for a couple of different things, not just for calendaring, but also keeping track of conversations with my team and even like my editorial calendar for my blog and social media. So, it's something that you can use for that. I see Patricia saying that she uses a small notebook that shows the whole week on her page. So she's a weekly planner person. And then it's also divided by hours so that she can keep her appointments in there as well. So you guys see that we're all using different things, but we
Yeah.
all have a calendar, right? If you
We all need to have one.
whether it's digital. I wish I had some digital calendars to show you, but you guys can Google those and find that too. So
Yes.
once you have your planner, the next step is to set up your goal. Now, last week we talked about SMART goals, and Millie, you said you have some questions about how you initiate your goal setting. Can you share like again that thing that you said that you do?
Well, I like to ask open-ended questions to myself. I ask a lot of the why, when, how, where questions, and I ask myself, what did you do last year, and how are you gonna make it different? How is this year gonna be different from last year? So, I like to look not only at last year's notes, but I like to look at my other calendars, the other calendars from previous years, which I keep, so that I can keep track of my previous 5, 10 years and see where I am right now.
Right.
So for me, being able to set goals is a matter of asking myself the questions, the key questions, and making my mind think of what I really want and become assertive. Because if you say, okay, I want to do this, like we were sharing before, Georgiana, how you had conversations with your team, and then they say, okay, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this that I didn't do last year. So they already know what they're doing, but it's a matter of doing it, and a matter of just uh, getting getting it all together, not making it overwhelming. That's another thing that kills the dream, is to make it overwhelming, where you have so many things that you got going and you don't know how to break it down, and then all of a sudden becomes something that looks totally impossible. So, what would you do about that? What would you share with them? How would you break it down so that it doesn't become overwhelming?
So I love that you look at your past years, and I think that's important. But I would even before we you start to look at past years, and before you even start to analyze what you've done and plan out your action steps, I would recommend that you guys set a goal.
Hmm.
And in that goal setting, you're going to say, this year or this next 5 years, the next 10 years, or what do I want for my life? Like you said earlier, those open ended questions. Really take some time and think about that. Because I think, too, a lot of times, you're talking about overwhelm. We get into doing stuff, but we're not really sure why we're doing what we're doing. We might be doing it because it's what everybody else does, or, what we see other people doing, or we might be doing it because it's what we've always done. How many of us, you have a routine and you just do it
Hmm.
because a lot of people
Yes.
coming out of corporate or coming out of the school education, coming out of school, you had a structure and your life changed, but you didn't change that structure. So take some time. And I know it's one of those things where you're like, okay, BSE, woo woo kind of stuff, but it's actually really important to sit down and ask yourself a couple of questions. What do I want out of my life? Where do I see myself in 10 years? Where do I see myself in 5 years? I hope you guys are taking notes on these things that I'm saying. Who do I picture myself with?
Mhm.
Um, is it with your family, or are you with your, what loved ones? Where are you? Are you living in the same house you are now? A lot of people are like, no, I gotta get up out of here. But that will allow you to start imagining yourself where you want to be. Is
Yeah.
it the same house? Is it the same neighborhood? Is it the same area of the country? Do you want to travel? Do you want to go somewhere else? Start
Mhm.
to think those things out and start to put them down on paper. Don't worry about how it sounds. Don't worry about other people reading it. Don't worry about anything but putting it on the paper. You can come back and reevaluate later on. And I found for myself, when I do this, sometimes I start with what I think my life should look like. And then as I keep going and start to flesh it out, I realize that that may not be what I want. And that was the
Mhm.
exercise that I actually did to help myself realize that I didn't want to pursue a career in architecture. I wanted to be an architect, but I didn't want to do it as a profession. Which sounds contradictory, but that's where I was. That's me. And you guys are going to have your own things that are going to be different. So craft for yourself what you want your life to look like, and then set your goals. From
Mhm.
there, now you know what you want your life to look like in the next year. What do I want to be able to do? Where do I want to be? What is my goal? Is my goal to be debt free? Is your goal to move to a different place? Is your goal to achieve a certain level, a title or achievement? And when you do that, you'll be able to line it up with where you want to be long term in your life. So if your goal is to be debt free, digging yourself into debt by buying 3 new cars and a McMansion doesn't line up with your overall goal. I mean, unless you have the cash for it. But I'm assuming if you're worried about debt, you probably
Mhm.
don't. If you do want to buy a new car, all right, well, what are the things that you need to do? You need to save up X amount of money. Maybe you need to cut spending in certain areas.
Mhm.
Maybe you need to put in extra hours in other areas. So it'll help you line up. Millie, what do you think about that? Does that?
I love that. I love that. All those questions that you asked, it definitely comes to one, defining your why,
Yes.
because without the why, there is nothing that's going to work ever. I love them. And, one thing that I would like to add is that um, when you have a business, you definitely must put in the time.
Yep.
So, those goals that you're writing down, those questions that you're asking yourself, they come with a price. And the price is that you must put in the time in your business and be consistent with what you write on your schedule. So, you know, um, there's nothing wrong about being a dreamer. I am probably the biggest dreamer. My husband always tells me that. Sometimes he doesn't even want me to open my mouth because I drive him crazy.
Mm,
But there's nothing wrong with being a dreamer. However, you have to be a dreamer and a doer.
yeah.
So, behind those dreams, behind those goals, you have to have the time that you put in, the effort, that commitment, sacrificing time with your family, because all that comes with a price. Dreams, achieving dreams and goals, it comes with a price, and it's a price of putting on our time, our effort, our work, and our passion into everything that we do.
Yeah. And in line with that is my next point,
Mhm.
setting smart goals. So, again, helping you combat overwhelm, helping you not to set goals that are unachievable, that are going to be discouraging in the long term. Setting a smart goal is really going to help you flesh out your goal. So, for those of you who don't know, I'll go over it again. But basically, a SMART goal, SMART is an acronym, SMART. The S, I hope you guys are taking notes. Let me know in the comments if you're taking notes. And if you're faster than me, type out the meaning of SMART goals if you guys can get there before I do. Or even for someone else who is watching and needs that visual. So, SMART is S for specific. So you want to clearly define something that you want to focus on. Some people call it your why. Some people call it your life goal or your purpose. And on a side note on that, this changes occasionally.
Mhm.
Your purpose when you were 17 is different from your purpose from when you're 30, and it's going to be different from your purpose when you're 82. So keep that in mind.
Yes.
So a specific goal, define the who, what, where, and why of your dreams and goals. And I'm just reading this off. So if you guys, I'm reading, I am. Measurable. That's the M in SMART. You want to define. You guys are giving this out of order. Put it in line. Put it in line. But so yes, measurable. I see Natasha. The M is for measurable. Check.
Very
You have
good,
Natasha.
guys. Very
Um,
good. Keep
for
putting it.
measurable.
Keep putting it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. For measurable, you want to define how much, how many, or what it takes to accomplish um, what you want, so that you know what you've gotten when you achieved it. A lot of our goals, I want to be happy. Okay,
Mhm.
what does happy mean? Does happy mean that you're never sad? Does happy mean you're glad 90% of the week? Like you have to make it like narrow it down so that it's more concrete. And I think
Mhm.
measurable is something that a lot of people struggle with because again, it's dreams. You got to like hook that dream and pull it down by giving it definition. So an example I also use a lot with my team is, oh, I want to make a little money. 5 cents is a little money, people.
Yeah.
$10 is a little money, people. When you say a little money, what do you really mean? 100, 500, 1,000, 2,000? Give it a definite goal. Don't just a little money. I want to be free. I want to, define it. So
Yes.
let's make it measurable. Um, Achievable. Who said achievable? Nobody got A. Okay, nobody knows what A is. So
Attainable.
the A,
Attainable. Natasha was close. Attainable.
attainable. Attainable was close.
Uh-huh.
Attainable, achievable. All right, Natasha, I'll give you points for that. I'll give you 98.5%. So achievable is being clear on how realistic your goal is. Realistic doesn't mean, oh, I can never be debt free because my parents were never debt free. You can be. It is achievable. It is attainable. So be careful with the words you use when you're going through this section because sometimes people psych themselves out like, oh, I can never be that. You
Yeah.
can if you have a plan. And that's what makes it achievable.
Mhm.
So yes, Natasha, you passed. Um, can it be realistically achieved with the resources you have available? Milagros was saying earlier, looking at your calendar and how much time you have available to put into your business. If you can only put in an hour a week, that's okay, but you need to be conscious. Like, I only have an hour. I need to make that hour like a power hour because that's all I have. You
Yes.
um, and that's something that's going to help you avoid burnout because a lot of times too we set our goals too big and
Mhm.
then you don't really have that time in your calendar, you don't really have the resources. But when you're thinking about achievable, think about your time, think about your resources. I always say there's a triangle. We used to say this in architecture. There's a triangle. Do you want it done well? Well, okay, I don't have enough hands, but the top of the triangle would be like, do you want it done well, do you want it done fast, or do you want it done cheap? If you want it done cheap, you're going to have to spend a little bit of money and maybe not as good a quality. Or if you want it done cheap, you're going to have to sacrifice some of the quality, maybe extend the time a little. So the triangle is always like in a tug of war. So same thing with your business.
Yes.
If you maybe you have the funds to invest in your business, but you don't have as much time, that's great. You can hire assistants and
Mhm.
secretaries, and you could pay for the stuff that you need to supplement your business. But a
Yes.
lot of reps, for example, you might be starting out and not have the funds, so
Mhm.
you have to invest more time because you're manually going to be handwriting your brochures because you can't afford a printer. You're physically yourself going to be tossing your brochures because you can't hire someone else to do it. You're going to be working on and editing your videos and doing your own pictures and images because you can't afford to hire someone else to do it, which is where I am. You're gonna have to clean your own house and make time for cleaning your house because you can't afford someone else to do it. So there's a little bit of a trade-off.
I
Maybe
love
you
it.
want the fancy what's really, you want a magic bus like Milagros have, so you could drive it around and advertise your business. But do you have the funds for that? It looks nice and it's great, but realistically you have to say, okay, well, that is nice, but I don't have the funds for that. Or if I want that, I'm gonna have to, look at the other side of the triangle and say I'm gonna put in a lot of time
Yeah.
so that I can earn that. So keep that triangle. in
Or
mind.
the commitment also, because you could have a magic bus, but if you don't have the time to put it to work and set up events and doing what you're supposed to do to make it work, your investment work, then it's not gonna work.
Yeah.
And another thing that I want to add to what you said that is exhausting is also not planning, because sometimes we say, "Oh my gosh, like have you heard, Georgiana, who else here in the chat that can tell us, have you heard people that say, "Oh, I'm so busy. I am too busy. I'm
Hmm.
really busy." I actually had one of my representatives tell me that all the time, and to a point that every time I saw it, I said, "Okay, you're too busy." But one day she was laid off. So I was talking to her. I said, "Well, now you have the time because you're laid off." Do you know the first thing that she told me? "I
I'm
am too busy." And I'm like, and then she caught herself up, and I saw that look. I said, "Well, maybe not now because I don't have a job." So, not having a plan, not being able to see exactly what you're doing. And sometimes it can be, one activity. Sometimes it can be many activities. But if you don't have it, write it down, it could be exhausting because you can spend the whole day spinning your wheels, believe me,
oh,
and not even getting anything accomplished.
that's a great point. You do need to analyze. That's why you have to analyze what your resources are, because you can squander your resources in areas of your life. And I find this battle every day. Things will come up, distractions,
Hmm.
things that you don't really have to do. But that's why if you craft your why, then anytime anything comes up, you're like, do I really need to take a 4 week vacation to go to Six Flags to hang out with my friends? No. Do I have the funds for that? So again, you get your achievable triangle going, and you'll be able to manage what you have in your table a little better.
Mhm. That's
Um,
a great point, Frances. Thank you for sharing, you guys. I see so many comments in the chat. Actives are the best for new customers and reps. I love it. Thank you all for sharing. Keep the comments going because we are also learning from you. It's
from
sometimes
each
we think, yes, sometimes we think we know it all, but when we start seeing what it is that you do, it's like, I never thought about that. Maybe I should, try this route better. So please share with us. Francis says plan is important. Thank you so much.
yeah. So
Candace, she gets
out,
up early to post on her groups. That's a great. See, it's like, when you don't have time, you just have to make your day longer. So how do we make our day longer? We
you
either
can't,
gonna,
because we all have the same 24 hours.
yeah, gonna sleep later or wake up earlier to make our day longer. There's no
But
such thing as 28 hours days.
even in doing that, guys, like I don't want you guys to feel like, oh, well, so and so is getting up at 4 a.m. to work her business, so I need to do that too. It's
Mm-mm.
not about that. It's
Yep.
about your plan and
Yes.
your goals and using your time in the best way that you can to align with
Yep.
your goals.
Yeah, we
So,
don't want you to compete with anybody else. Your
right,
plan
yeah,
is
no,
your plan.
definitely, definitely. But we want you guys to see, like, yeah, I mean, I'm one of those people. I'm always busy because I fill my calendar with activities
Mhm.
and things that I want to line up with my goal. Even hanging out and watching TV with my family. These last few years, I realized how important it is to set aside time for mental health. Because
Mhm.
I was that person. I was constantly going. From when I was in school, I went to school. I had a part-time job, and I was doing Avon on the side. I'm one of those people who hustle, and I know a lot of you guys can
Mhm.
identify with that. But I started to see the effect on my body. I started to hear from my older friends about the toll that it takes on your health and wellness. And I started to say, no, I need to set aside time in the morning to
Mhm.
read and pray and just have peace of mind. I need to set aside time to prepare healthy dinners
Mhm.
and to exercise.
Plan.
Yeah. So I don't want you guys to feel like this is about go, 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 go. It's
Mhm.
about defining what's important and aligning your goals with that. So don't feel like because you're not working 24 hours, because I know I used to be that, oh, I can go until 2 a.m. I was that person. I was up, and I mean, I was up until 2 a.m. last night, but that's beside the point. But occasionally it happens. But it's not about oh yeah, I'm going to be one of those people to work that I work until I kill myself. We don't want you to do that either, because I hope working until I kill myself is not on anybody's goal list.
Mm-hmm.
But if you have your goal defined, you'll be able to craft a lifestyle where you can achieve your goals without working yourself to death.
Yes, I
So you're going to
agree.
want to are.
I
Sorry, did you want to
agree.
add?
I'm looking at the comments, and Frances says she likes to plan the next day so that she's ready. I love that. It mentally prepares you the
Mhm.
night before, so that that's that's something so important, because sometimes we go to sleep, like it's happened to me. We go to sleep. I don't know. I don't know exactly. I haven't gone through my calendar. I don't know exactly what's going to happen the next day. But then as I start thinking differently, looking at my calendar the day before, then I wake up. I know what time I'm going to wake up. I know what kind of energy I'm going to have. So that is great. Thank you so much for sharing that,
So let me
Francis.
finish the R and the T of the SMART goals before we
Yes,
get off
we
into
lost
this.
track.
We just
We
have so
always
many letters, guys. Bear with us.
do.
I saw Natasha. I see you guys are still giving your guesses. Great job. The R actually stands for relevant. And that is why that goal matters to you. So I kind of started to segue into that, what why things are important, not just because other people are doing it or because you think that's where you should be in life, but why it's really important to you. And all of these are again fleshing out your why. It goes hand in hand, it's all the same, but you have to make sure that it's applicable to your efforts. This is another pitfall that a lot of people have. They want to be million, bajillion, gazillionaires. You guys have all seen the TikTok. Oh, I've been working an hour today at my job and I'm still not a billionaire. But that's the mindset we have. So, are your goals relevant? Can you make $1 million in an hour? There are very few positions in this entire world that allow that. If you're Jeff Bezos, yeah, probably you can. But right now, you're not in that place. So that can be a goal that you're going to work towards, but you're going to take action steps that are very, very, like, vastly different if that is your goal. But when you're looking at the relevant aspect of your goal and defining your needs, you have to think about, is it important enough to motivate you?
Mm-hmm.
If you're not going to stick with it, it doesn't make any sense. Um, if you're not going to stick with it when the going gets tough, then it's not really something that you want. Or when any distraction comes up, a lot of times we have the best of intentions, and then the goldfish dies, and the whole world comes crashing down because the your why wasn't strong enough to keep you in line. And again, that is one, we even did it in our conversation. We almost glossed over it and missed it, but it is super important to setting your goal before you even start to do anything, to plan, to set your actions or anything. Go back to this SMART list. The last thing on it that I didn't see anybody get timeliness. Close. Time. T is for time. So
Very good, Eleanor.
set that date for
Yeah.
your time frame. Is it March 3rd of 2022 specifically? Is it the end of the year, December 31st of 2022? Is it, January 5th of 2043? Whatever it is, you need
Mm-hmm.
to set that specific date, because that T actually goes back to achievable. Can
Yes.
you make a bajillion gazillion dollars in an hour? Probably not. Can you make $1 billion in well, I'll say a million just to make it more realistic. Can you make $1 million in a lifetime? Yes. Can you make $1 million if you're already past your 30s? I think I'm the youngest in the chat. No, Candace. Candace is probably in her 20s. Can Candace set aside $1 million at her age? Yes. Who's the oldest in the chat? I know you guys don't want to say that.
Don't mention the hello.
But the oldest person in the chat, can you set aside $1 million where you are now? Yes, you
Yes.
can. But Candace's action steps are going to look different than if
Mhm,
you're a little further, a little more experienced, a little further down in the line, because Candace has more time,
mhm.
theoretically. Yeah.
Yes, I love
Yes,
that.
yes, I know. I know there are different things, but if you all live until you're 100, Candace has a longer way to go to reach 100. If you're in
Mhm,
your 80s, you have a shorter way to go until 100. So your action steps are going to be probably more intense
mhm.
than
Yeah.
Candace's action steps because she has more time. So
And
yes, thank you,
also,
Bethany,
I,
for
I also take more risk, because younger people take a lot of risk. I just can't see myself taking the risks that I took when I was young
Yeah,
girl.
it's very true. When I invest, my portfolio is a little more risky than um, even my sisters, and we've got like a 5 year gap between us. You know, so all of those things affect
Mhm,
your plan. So now that you have your SMART goals, you can start to do your activities. I would even say, um, even in the type of calendar that you have, I would do your whys and your goals and your SMART goals um, first before you even pick a calendar, because I think that might affect the type of calendar that you work with. Um,
mhm.
and the type of planning you do. But your planning style is your planning style. But definitely, she said, Patricia said, smart needs a P in it for prioritized. She's a daily list maker, and she tries to do her list by the importance of each item because she knows she probably won't get it get number 10 done. Well, I'll tell you why smart is just smart. A, because it's an acronym, it's meant to be short and memorable.
Mhm,
But B, your priority, when you like S is specific, when you specify what you want, that will help you line up your priorities. If your goal is specific enough that you've crafted and defined what it is that you want, and like you've really, really narrowed it down, you'll realize, Patricia, I'm sorry, I wanted to call you Patty, and I was like, wait, I don't have that permission. So you'll realize, Patricia, that you start to dust stuff off of your to-do list
mhm.
because they don't line up with that overall goal that you set. Like I said, like hanging out in Cancun for 4 weeks with my friends, just chilling, doesn't get me close to my goal. So I'm not going to do it. It's automatically off my to do list.
I love it, and I love what you said about um, writing your top 10 things down.
Hmm.
And let's be honest, how many of us get up? Our day wasn't planned, and you're like, okay, I have so much to do, and the end of the day comes and you did not write down your top 10, and the end of the day came by and you did not even accomplish one, or at least you didn't accomplish your most important one. So, Patricia, I call her Patricia, having your top 10 down, it's amazing. I love, love, love that you are definitely taking the time to write down your must do things during the day. That's something definitely that I have to work on. And that's part of what you talked about, um, making it overwhelming. You make it overwhelming when you really don't know what the direction of your day is. And then you get up and you say, okay, I have to do this and that. Then at the end of the day, I was like, oh man, I forgot to do this, just because you didn't follow your plan. So that makes it very overwhelming.
I
Thank you
would
for
actually
sharing.
challenge you, Patricia, and Pat, she said, just Pat. So I
Yeah.
would actually challenge you, Pat, and some of the other people in the chat, because I'm also one of those people who loves a list. What
Mhm,
I do is at the beginning of the week, I make a list of all the things, all the random things that just, I call it a brain dump. I just get everything on the page. And then each day I say, okay, what are the top 3 things I have to do today? Usually, somebody was saying that they get their stuff done in the morning. Usually, I try to just get those 3 things
mhm.
done first to get them
Yeah.
out of the way. Some things take more time. Like sometimes, if I have editing a video on my list, that's something that is going to be done later on in the day. But just by defining, narrowing that thing down from 10 to just 3 will kind of help you flesh out, like, okay, what's really important on this list? I might have 10
Mhm.
things to do, but really only 3 of them are must do's. Let me just do those 3, and then I can take my time to do the rest. So again, that helps you with overwhelm. It's going to help you prioritize, because yeah, every day has 20 or 30 things that you need to do. And
I
if you
love
really look
that.
at the list, I got to brush my teeth, I got to comb my hair, I got to wash my hair, I got to shower, I got to bathe, I got to exercise, eat all those things. There's a ton of things that you have to do, but
Mhm.
what's really important? So I
I
hope that
love
that
that.
helps you guys flesh out your um, how to plan, helps you guys get ideas for some of the tools you can use to plan.
Mhm.
But I do want to encourage you guys, especially those of you who are scrapbook people, not scrapbook as in terms of like collecting ideas together, but in terms of having like a lot of loose papers.
Mhm.
I would just encourage you to find one place where you can keep everything. Even if you punch those things and put it into a binder, that's
Mhm.
a lot better than having the random papers, because I know I know people who do the random paper things, but if you can organize it, it's going to help save you time as opposed to searching for those little scrap pieces of paper. Just a tip.
Yes, and someone mentioned also, I think it was Beverly, about a dream board. A dream board has very much to do with your planner, also with your. And Georgiana has her dream board on in her phone. She
And my
has
planner.
also her planner. She has
Yeah.
it written down. I have an actual dream board, but like Georgiana says, there's not a specific way of making a dream board. We can definitely share tips in another training where you're going to be able to design your own dream board. So I hope that this training helps you. We are loving everything you share in the chat. We're going to look at everyone's comments. Thank you all for joining us. Would you like to add something else, Georgiana?
I would just encourage you guys to put this into practice this month because we're going to come back and check in on
Mhm.
in February. So you guys have 4 weeks. We were going to, this is the true test. The parents put the kids out on their own. You go off to college. You're going to see how you can conduct yourself. But
Yes.
you guys have 4 weeks now. For the next 4 weeks, really first sit down and set out your goal
Mhm.
by February, before February, but February the deadline, you should have not only your overall goal, like
Mhm.
where you see yourself written down, but your goal for this year specified, specific. Bethany put all of what I said into one
Mhm.
line so you can just copy and paste and save to your phone. But also for the next 4 weeks, well, 3 weeks, because this week is basically done. But for the next 3 weeks, really put using a system down
Mhm.
into practice. If you're not a person who normally uses a planner like Letty, if you're not already there, it's going to take some time to get into the habit. So find ways. I get up and I plan in the morning, but I also plan Sunday night for the week ahead, and I plan at the end of the month for the upcoming month. So you have to find your own routine. So take these next
Mhm.
4 weeks and experiment. Does it work better for you to plan in the morning or in the evening? Um, and if you have any hiccups that you find when you're doing your why, make a note of them in whatever system you're using, because now all of your stuff is going to be in one place. So that next month when we come back, I almost said next week.
Yes, we're gonna meet the first week of February.
Yes.
Every Thursday, every first Thursday of the month, we're going to be right here and we're probably going to ask you what you have done to plan your dream board and all of that. So
So
make yourself, make yourself, you know, we're going to make you accountable so that everything we talked about it here, you can put it into works.
So that the next meeting will be held on February 3rd, same time, 11:15, same location. Everything else is the same, except we're just gonna give you a 3 week gap where you're held on your own. But your planner should 11:15, Natasha. So your planner, your I say planner, but your calendar, your phone, whatever it is that you're using, is gonna help you stay on track for the next week, and you'll start to see that the activities that you start to plan will start to come from your goal. But I always feel it's important to yes, lady, put that date in your planner.
It's in your planners. I love it. Runner did. Who else? Who else is planning for next February?
You'll find yourself
Thank-
missing less meetings. You'll find yourself sort of organizing the training, and hopefully you'll find yourself. I know when I plan, I feel a lot less overwhelmed to the point where my family is like, "Are you using your planner?" Like when I start to get like, they're like, "Are you using your planner?" Because they even see the difference. So you guys should be seeing this difference in your life too. But yes, we're gonna come back in February. But I want you guys. Last thing is to worry less about the actual activities because that's what we talk about here in these chats.
Mhm,
But don't worry so much about the specific things that you're doing until you've crafted your goal.
mhm.
Otherwise, you're just going to be spinning your wheels.
I love that. Thank you all. Thank you so much for being here and for chatting with us. We love you all. See you next
Month.
time, next month.
Have a great month, you guys, and we'll be back February.